6 more weeks of winter.
All right, where's my team at?
What? We're all together.
Perfect. So are we live? Am I doing my introduction now?
I think so.
Oh. Welcome to the Corning Museum of Glass, everyone, where we today, as a group, as all local artists, are going to be collaborating on one single piece. So we've got today Stephen Brucker, dun, 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 dun. Richard Whiteley, woo, woo, woo. And then me, Kat Burns. I'm just kind of here hanging out, blowing glass. We got Stephen on the torch, and Richard is being really great moral support and supervising.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out.
No, that's a lie. Richard was like herding cats, so he basically was instrumental in getting us to even do this. So he's the brains. So my name's Kat. I have been an instructor here for a couple years, on and off, doing fun stuff. We work here and rent at the studio a lot. And I'm just happy to be teaching classes again. Our class is about color patterns and doing kind of experimental color. So with that, we'll go on to Stephen, who is currently doing experimental color.
Well, good morning and welcome everyone. And thanks, Kat and Richard. It's an incredible honor and a pleasure to be part of this triad of creativity. Today, my contribution is to create these tree ring patterns out of soft glass. Yesterday, Chris Giordano and Kat's class were creating the pulled cane here that I'm using. So what I'm basically doing is wrapping these up to make varying sizes and discs. And this will be part of the initial patterning. Later, we'll add them to the surface. In my own practice, I'm a flame worker, obviously manipulating glass by the torch, and the majority of my work focuses on the fragility of the material, but also concepts of impermanence and transience, and there's a pretty high concept there with regard to homes and environments. So it is great to be a part of this process. We don't often get to see three folks working in three different mediums and three different techniques, and I'm excited to be able to add my contribution to the process. And I think I'm going to pass the baton to Richard, my colleague also at the studio.
Thank you, Stephen.
Of course.
I'm Richard Whiteley. I work here at the studio as well, and we're all, Kat, Stephen and I, we're all local artists, and it's a real opportunity to collaborate in ways that we would not normally work. So usually what I do is I'm a cold worker and a glass caster. So my processes happen in a different part of the studio, and Kat invited myself and Stephen to join her to bring our own contributions to this collaborative process. So Kat obviously is a very well-known hot glass worker, and she's going to be working with patterns and surfaces. Stephen is a flame worker, and he's going to bring elements to that process. As a cold worker, I've prepared some glass lenses that we poured into the hot studio and then sculpted them last night. We've heated them up in an annealer. Also, I've suggested that we work with a rectilinear cylindrical form as a point of departure. So we're all bringing different elements to this process, and it's not only the aesthetic contributions that we're sharing, it's also an opportunity to share our own methodology, how we make decisions about our artwork, and share that process together. So we're really happy to be here. With that, I'll hand it back to Kat. She can give us an update.
So, one of the cool things about the studio is that we have so many different areas where people kind of like flock to the kind of glass that speaks to their soul, you know? Like, I really was into kiln working way before I was into blowing glass, because I felt like I had a lot more control over it. But that love of the kiln working went into my love of glass blowing. So what we're going to do today is kind of really show you like when people just get together and have fun with glass and do the thing that they love in glass but do it together, kind of crazy stuff can be made. Honestly, I don't think any of us would ever make anything like this by ourselves. So I think it's really instrumental for like people that are just learning how to blow glass, because a lot of people have just started. Can you repeat this for me real fast? A lot of people have just kind of started their journey in glass recently. So I think it's really important to say, like, no matter how long you've been doing it. Like, Richard, how long have you been working in glass?
Since I was 16, so, you know, a couple of
We can
years.
do the math, right? We can do the math.
Yeah, about 40 years.
Stephen, how long have you been in glass?
18 years.
Right, so it goes to show you, no matter how long you've been doing this, you really can find different ways of learning and experimenting and having fun. So what we've got on the bubble for you right now is just a little bit of Abendrot, which is evening red from Kugler, and we have just a tiny, tiny bit. Chris, can I get a little bit of air? We're not allowed to really share pipes, but we share cooties all the time because we're partners, so he doesn't really care. Can you blow, please?
That was pronounced Kugler.
Kugler? Kuglaba. And off, please. Thank you. So we're just going to hang out and layer up color. And while we're taking some gathers, eventually Gio's going to grab a really big plate of stuff. But while we're just gathering, I think it would be great if Stephen was talking about how he's flame working the pieces. That way when you see the pieces come out of the oven, you understand how they got made.
Sure. So what I'm doing is a coiling process. I call these tree rings. I use them in my work as well as a method to signify chronology, right? If we cut a cross section of a tree, we see the rings of a tree. And so I'm using soda lime glass here to create these ring-like patterns, right? When I heard about this project, I thought, as Kat mentioned earlier, there's a lot of combined history. We all bring multiple decades with us into this process, and I thought, well, a tree ring is a way to look back over time at how folks have, or how a tree has evolved. And so I use that pattern. And then the colors in Kat's palette.
It's going to behoove me to just
we talked
keep
about
it
that
really
at a great
even
length
and
about
like not
how we can
any extra
talk about
thickness at
pattern,
the bottom, right?
Marini,
'Cause
these
bunch
tree
of
rings.
thickness is going to go to the bottom.
And then Richard had a great idea as well, how we can amplify and those layers that overlap. So when Richard comes with his pieces, I don't want to steal his thunder by any means, but these are lenses that are going to be applied at the end, which when you look through it, because the glass has an optical quality, it's going to amplify this pattern, Kat's pattern, the layering pattern, and the combination of all the techniques. So soda lime glass a little bit finicky to work with, especially at the torch. You have to pre-warm the glass. You have to make sure that it's constantly staying warm. So you'll see me do what's called flashing it, bringing it in and out. Jason, could I have an assist?
Actually, after
Can we
this
pop
gather,
this one in the garage?
I
Can I
think
have
my
a shovel?
sleeves are in that
I'm working
box
with my
over there. I want both of them.
My assistant Jason Hitchcock, a well-accomplished glass artist here at the Hot Glass Show, been a member of teams in the studio, and he is my assistant for the week-long intensive class, which is an introduction to borosilicate glass. Borosilicate glass, many folks are familiar with it. You have it in your home as Pyrex. So I'm just going to pop this one off, hopefully.
I'm just looking at like,
Jason's brought over a
I don't
shovel.
want to hang on to this super long.
Yeah, you want to give it a flash real quickly?
While he had, like, we don't want to hang out to heavy stuff, and he doesn't want to hang out with the heavy.
Let me give it a press really quickly.
That's the thing, kind of.
And because we have to keep this warm before we apply them,
Jason's
we're going to
helping.
just give it a quick heat,
Oh, you don't?
and off to the garage it
Okay,
goes.
you
The
wanna
garage
take this
meaning a
sleeve,
kiln
blow
area.
it a little bit, and I'll find my sleeves because I'm
All right.
pretty sure they're just right over there.
How many gathers already?
I don't know, I'm not very good at counting. Just a glass blower.
Okay.
Not a scientist.
Got it.
3.
We are at 3 gathers. 4?
3
I don't know.
I don't know where my black one is, but I got these guys.
So the torch that I'm using today, it's a Carlisle. It's a pretty common standard one. The fuel source, propane and oxygen. And this flame temperature is one of the hottest things we have in the studio.
Talk about your
generating a
images, or
flame
do
of
you
about
need to
4,000 degrees
focus on this?
Fahrenheit.
Like when he's done, we could cut to you
More than
No,
enough
that would be a good time.
to melt the soft glass.
and then you hand over to Stephen, and then
I don't know what in God's name is all over this.
Man, 100% pure groundhog.
Love it. This, I don't know what this is covered in. Oh, does it fit over my big muscles? Ew. So right now, I have to talk about some slides, and then I'll be all glass blowing.
Your mic is live, so it's for he's
What is this about?
talking.
You think one more, and then that's getting the plate?
Yeah, I should go get it.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So who's helping you with the plate? You want to get
The
Celia?
ones that I'm making here?
our
Or the
mics
ones-
are live when we're talking, so we
Okay.
just, one person talks.
They're probably just too chilly in the
Not
chest.
take the mic because we have to talk the whole time.
The other ones, the preheated ones, are good? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So I'm just checking in with Jason on the status of the work that we're making here.
Can you talk about your images now?
Yep. All right, so do I know where the images are? They're just in my brain. All right, so the images I provided are some of the patterns that I've done recently. My residency that I had over at the Korean Museum of Glass Shops over the summer, where Christopher Giordano was also my head assistant, and kind of just the progression of playing with patterns that I've done. Those are my slides, thank you.
Run the slides.
That's about as fast as my real slide talk is tomorrow, or tonight too. I think a strip and a gather. You hold this for a sec. If you guys want to keep talking, I'll hand the mic off to you so that you can talk, because we're going to be chatting away the whole time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay. What's the surface temperature of that, of your shovel, when you're bringing it over? You're leaving it in there, right? It should be rock solid. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So let's try this one. I'm going to make it a little smaller, but do you want to go grab it now? And then we'll try this one. I mean, I don't know that it's necessary, but I'll continue to make a couple more until they're ready to.
Right.
So he's ready. Gio's ready for the plate.
On the right. Should I just narrate? Okay, so you're back here with Richard, and I'm just going to help talk through what Kat's doing. She's just taken, looks like her fourth gather of glass. Looks about 20 pounds of glass on the end of that pipe. And what she's doing now is just using one of the blocks to, that's a cherry wood block that she's using just to shape that up. The block she had isn't quite large enough, so we're using
This is the 20.
what's called a 20 size block, and she's just using the extra strength of Ross there to turn that pipe and shape the glass up. Meanwhile, on the other side of the shop, Chris is preheating a plate of elements that are going to be picked up and rolled into the surface of the bubble that Kat is blowing. So there's a fair amount of coordination that's happening between
Okay.
inflating the glass bubble
Right. Okay.
and
That's all right.
preheating these
We
fused
learned.
glass elements.
No, at all. Right.
You're just like,
I'm just fine with it.
So what's on that plate is canes of morini that have been pulled out into long strands and then broken up into small pieces. And Kat's laid out this pattern that will be rolled up on the surface of the bubble. So Jason and Chris are preheating that at the moment. So the glass needs to be heated just above the melting point so it's soft enough to stick to the bubble. And they're just using the torch to add some spot heat into certain areas. He'll go back into the glory hole to really build the heat in that body of glass. That oven's up at about 1100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Stop. Just stop. The blasphemy shall cease. Otherwise, the gays will show up, you know. They'll just be like, come with us, please not, please try not to make a scene.
And you can see there that there's slightly uneven heat. It's a little bit hotter at the front. So Kat's just pouring some heat into the back of it at the moment to even out the heat within that plate of morini.
You want some wax in that?
already would have been nice right here.
Jason, you got Ross over there and hanging out. Is that good?
Nice, one more person. As soon as I come out here, torching the backside.
Okay.
That's what I was just doing. So have someone over here consistently do that.
Okay, Chris is just having trouble getting the heat even on this form. The Marinis down at the far end haven't fused together yet, so he's turned the plate around to allow the heat in the back of the glory hole to fuse those together. And we're going to need to add a significant amount of heat to the other end to try and keep it all even. So we're just juggling it at the moment.
Right, well, while we're getting close on, I will go around and kind of poke everything, fuse everything, and then someone else should be torching the back end while you're putting gloves on. So Celia, you want to torch the back end while we're getting gloves?
Kat's got some of her students on deck helping out with the heating process here. Celia's heating the back of the plate. That's more like it. So we're able to get the heat into it now.
That little spot. Good. Ross is just hanging out with it, making sure it stays okay.
So Ross is babysitting the glass. How many more heats do you think it needs, Kat?
I think after this heat,
Wish I could just use this Kevlar, but there's no. Oh, it's great.
It loses its heat really quickly, doesn't it?
well, it also is a really big plate, so it
Yeah.
takes a lot of heat to get it warm enough. And
Right.
now that it's all, this end is super stuck together. So now that this is stuck, the front end will be stuck after this one. And then we're ready to roll up. So Dave, you got it from here on out? Push in the front? Okay.
Okay. So Kat's now happy with that. So we're heading back to the other bench. Kat's just checking on the blown glass element, and that's cooled down. Looks like she's going to take another gather over the top of that before picking up the Marini that that Chris has been heating. Meanwhile, so Kat, you're going to take
polish it with a pumice.
one more gather?
One more strip gather.
Right.
And then after that, we'll get it to the right shape for the roll up.
Right.
And then once that's rolled up, because it's so thin, it really doesn't need much except for a couple marvers.
Right.
And then we'll have the right heat to bring it into the mold.
Right. Okay.
So once we get that out of the way and start marvering it, someone's going to start preheating the mold.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
All right. So Kat's going back in the furnace. This is going to be a lot of glass. So Kat's doing what's called a strip gather, which means she takes full gather of glass, and then as she comes out, she strips off the excess glass into a recycling bucket. That's a lot of weight.
Write your name with it.
And the pipe's pretty hot, so she's using a pipe cooler just to cool that down. Meanwhile, Gio and his team are continuing to keep the mosaics hot.
Is she going to fit? Oh yeah, like a freaking block. And back.
Do that again.
Who just said are you going to dip again?
It's a little bit of a dance at the moment. We're just trying to choreograph the heating of the bubble and the heating of the Marini plate. And they just keep trying to get them into the right shape and the right temperature so we can roll the bubble over the Marini plate and pick up that design. So Gio, how are we looking?
I think we're pretty good.
That looks all fused together, doesn't it? Great job. So Gio, yeah. So this is the moment. So Ross has got a pair of calipers in his hands there, and that's helping Kat establish what diameter the cylinder needs to be. That's a lot of glass on the end there. Using the marver to shape it up, and those calipers are set to the length of the mosaic, the Marini pattern that's Gio's heating up. And that diameter there is exactly what it needs to be. It's 3.142, so just over 3 times the diameter of the cylinder.
Dan told me he was cutting me until I go there. You can probably hear me. You can't hear me. No, he told me I was cut until he asked me.
This is the size, it's perfect, and we're like almost there. So one more marker and then we're ready. So if you want to start again this way. Good and ready.
Okay, Kat, we're doing the final heat now?
This is the last marker to
Right.
get it a little bit wider. and then we're going to end up puffing it up just a little bit. And that'll be the perfect shape. Now this is kind of like an amorphous pattern. And it's going to wrap like a snake
Yep.
around the body of it. So it's not perfect. It doesn't really matter.
Rolling, then molding.
Yeah. We're going to roll up the pattern and then we're going to blow it into the mold. Okay, looks like we're ready.
This heat will be the one, Chris. I'm going to need someone. So while I roll this up, that plate is super precarious, right? So someone's going to need to have those gloves on and kind of be where right over here, where this bench is, we move it back. And just do me a favor, kind of hold it for me, because that's a little precarious. All right, everybody put all your good feelings.
Okay. So this is a big moment here.
Yeah, perfect.
Just trying to get the roll up at the right temperature.
Alright, so how close am I to the tip then? A little to me and then you're
A little more right there. You're good, you're good. Roll.
And flip it? No, like you keep moving that onto it.
Thank you.
Perfect. And then how much more do we have excess by?
Decent amount right here.
Alright, go ahead and smack it for me.
Just doing a little bit of trimming to the design to make it fit on the form.
Give me a little bit of a tap here. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Alright.
Well, that was a really tricky move. It's a lot of coordination to get to that point. And now what Kat's got to do is massage. Yeah, I got it. Kat's got to massage that shape in there.
Keep going, keep going. I would have done that, but it was too freaking heavy to move it. Alright, go ahead and take a flash version. Actually, before you flash, yes, Stephen, I know exactly where you can put your fingernails. Alright, go ahead and take a flash version.
So Kat's handing the piece off to Ross so he can be the muscle and reheat the piece. That just gives Kat a rest and allows her to do some of the directing. Meanwhile, Stephen has been working on his elements, which have all been preheated, and he'll start applying those in a few minutes.
Little tiny cup, because we're going to little thin on the bottom. We're going to go in the mold, so do whatever. Alright, I'll take her from you. Can you make sure that that is always close to the front? There you go. Alright, start to solve stuff now. You can close it. It's stuck. What's stuck is stuck. What's not stuck, then we're just not fun. Yeah. You're part of the party.
It's hot in there.
Here yet, or are they're good to go?
Everything's good.
Alright. Now, Stephen, do you want to put pinwheels on now or after it comes out of the mold? Probably after the mold, right? Got it? Alright. Alright, so now we had to get it that size. To get the marine on it, we have to get it a different size so that we can fit it in the mold. Now, one of the cool things about this is that the mold, right, is kind of like Richard's texture, Richard's pattern, and we have our pattern on there. So like it's kind of the world coming together of pattern. Now, I hand this over to Gio because Gio is a mold. He's like the mold guy, right? Like he's really good at it. Any glassblowers at home who are looking and saying like, oh, tips real thin right now, blah blah blah. That's okay. When you mold blow, a lot of stuff kind of does this to the bottom of it as you heat it and sink it in. So if that looks thin right now, it's going to be the same wall thickness by the time it comes out of the mold, maybe even thicker. So right now we're just condensing, squishing, and a little bit, because that Marini is textural on the surface, we're going to have to heat it and spin it in this mold. And I don't want too much texture left on the surface before we go into the mold, because I don't want anything kind of grabbing it, right? When you have something that's that, trust me, it's heavy. Actually, we have this sample that we should bring out and pass around so everyone can be like, whoo! We did it on Monday, and I was like, all right, we have to do it a second time. It's gonna be great. How heavy is it?
About 150 pounds.
No, it's real. I throw hay bales for a living at a farm, and that is heavy. That is heavier than an alfalfa bale. That's how I'm gonna weigh this. If you know, you know.
All right, so what we've done is we've preheated the mold, and that'll just stop the chill marks from forming on the outside of the form. We want a little bit of that, but we just don't want too much. So we've put a little bit of heat into it to minimize that. Cat's getting into position. Ross is going to preheat, get that bubble really hot, and then he's going to hand it over to Cat, who's going to blow.
All right.
All right. How are you feeling, gentlemen?
Doing it.
This one?
Yeah.
You're flying spaghetti monster. Yeah. Honestly, I'm just hoping I'm tall enough for this, because if the other one, I was barely tall enough for it.
Cat's a little worried if she's tall enough here.
Tall thoughts. Tall thoughts. We're doing like all the time, but
Right inside the window.
wouldn't be my first time falling off the bar. How are you feeling? Like, whoa.
And Cat is tall enough. That's great. So the mold's in there, they're spinning it, and she's blowing at the same time. Right. So instantly it's taken a really strong cylindrical form. That's a lot of, a lot of prep. Poor Cat is exhausted.
Flash, right? With that one.
All right. Next. Jason,
All right, are we going to, we're queuing for Stephen.
you're on. All right. Now I'm gonna move this marker out of your way, Mr. Stevens, so it's not flying up your bumhole.
Fantastic.
And then Richard.
Yep.
You want these
I
holding
think
in
we're
a thousand
going
over here? Do you need us to
here
bump them up
on
at
the
all?
bottom. to
Yeah, I'll
begin
bump
with,
it up
but
right
we can
now.
go ahead and flash first. Right? I'm just looking at where, and I'm thinking one of them's going here.
Yep.
All right? And then maybe up here for the second one. And I don't know where the third one goes yet. But we'll see what those two first, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Or overlap. How do we feel about overlapping on top of it?
I mean, where's the?
Here's the first
There's
one.
this part that's like already overlapping.
Okay.
So like overlapping, like that's kind of, we're building
Yeah,
patterns
yeah.
on it, right?
Sure, it works
Like
for me.
Patterns turning into texture, turning into friendship, turning into memories.
I'm going to Flash. I'm getting
All right, good. Peace out.
All good.
I don't think so. It's just gonna. I'm just gonna really quick. Okay. And let's go right here.
Yeah, let me get it on center for you.
Sure.
Go a little forward.
So Stephen, talk us through your process as you do it.
Oh, sure. So essentially what we're doing, glass needs to be hot to stick together. So what I'm going to do is concentrate the heat of the 4,000 degree flame. Can we just roll up here a little bit higher? Right here. So popping a spot in, superheated. Jason's going to come over.
Oh wait, he doesn't, he needs that yolk.
Yep. Ooh, nice.
Coming out right here, guys.
Okay, superheating.
Pork chop for you.
Thank you. Popping it in.
Nice
Go
job.
ahead. One.
I think it's funny how Cat's wrestling like 30 pounds of glass
Okay.
and Stephen's got like a couple of grams.
I
We're
know.
going to have a fit.
Yeah, I'm going to have a...
Priorities, right?
How's that not looking?
It's there.
It's going to go up top. So we're going to roll when it's cool. It'll go right there. Okay. Right. You can bring it. Jason's
You
going to
can
bring
stay
it.
on there too if you're comfortable. Like when I flip, you know, you can like stay on there so we have a little bit of heat down there
Okay.
underneath.
Like
Underneath, got it.
Spot heat underneath. Just because the thing is still hot, you know.
Okay.
All right, I'll switch it back.
Oops, sorry. I'm gonna flip and flex.
Alright.
And we have one more, right?
That one at the bottom.
What's that?
The one that's kind of lifting.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna.
think we want the texture. We want it kind of like turkey tail mushroom meets
Yeah.
crazy that meets brings the French and fire.
Flatten and breathe.
A little bit, right? I just want to touch that one a little bit, make sure it's at. But can we just roll to see? How about? I like this.
Corner.
Yeah. As I'm chatting about it. Okay, Jason.
Flip it. Underneath. There it is.
You know, I'm not used to this level of exertion from the flame shop. It's a bit much.
Perfect.
And we have one more spare in there. Yeah.
Okay. You want to do one more? We have time to do one more? Or should we?
No, you're
Hunt
good.
to Richard.
You're good.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are going to do the last one.
yeah. So he's adding the fourth book in the trilogy, right?
Okay. It works for me, yeah.
The fourth element.
Oh my God, what happened? Did you lose it? It's like I'm holding the piece.
Where's the spot you were talking about? Did we hit it?
No,
Right.
it's like that one, but it might be too close. Or that one's good. That's really nice.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
We'll go right.
Slide out. That's pretty smooth, so when I flip it, you can actually reach it.
So, Kat, I'm thinking that the lenses could
Jason,
kind of
let's
go
go.
over some of the elements and then over into the clear section.
Yeah.
You want to flip again?
Maybe about 3 of them.
Yeah, honestly, we're gonna heat up the neck and start getting
Oh,
the neck
okay.
involved too,
Yeah.
so we can get it on there. And I kind of am thinking maybe we don't need to pen it.
Yeah, we just break it off and then
By the
cold
time,
work it.
Like
Yeah.
those get, by the time those are gonna get splashed and heated, they're kind of very thin and delicate now on the
That's
surface.
right. That's right.
And good thing we know some good cold workers.
You're like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then honestly,
There's a few cold workers that live on 4th Street.
I think we're good on the texture. How do we all feel about that?
That looks great,
Push
Stephen.
this one a little?
Yeah, it's on my side. There it is.
Anything else? Anywhere else?
no.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, if they're better to have a little bit of
A little
coming
raise,
off
right?
the surface. All right, we want to put some lenses on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want, point where you want the lenses,
Yeah, we'll preheat.
okay?
So I'm thinking one about, or maybe off to the side. That's a really nice element there.
And we'll torch it for you.
We'll torch it. Yeah, if you can get Stephen or someone on the torch right here. And we're just
there?
going to go over
I'll
there.
torch it if you
All
want.
right, thank you.
Sure.
So you saw that, Stephen? It
I
was
s-
kind of like right underneath.
Yep. Guide me as well if I'm off. Yeah, because we won't need that one.
So what I'm doing now is I pre-made some glass lenses.
Are you coming around? Are you coming around me, Richard?
I'm going to come around you. Sorry, I'm trying to describe what I'm doing at the same time as. Give me a 5-second warning.
Oh.
Are these hot?
No.
Yeah, here, let's keep hot.
Okay, Richard.
5 seconds.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
There you come.
Smash! Cool!
Oh.
So what we've done there is we've pre-made some glass elements that we've ground and pre-polished, and then we're going to massage them into the surface. And these are going to be lenses that distort the surface and amplify some of the design that's underneath. So we're just going to see how that one blends into the surface, and then we'll probably add a couple more. So that's great. Kat's just massaging it into the surface now. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're just needing to add a little more heat. That's a reasonably large block of clear glass, and we're just trying to massage that in.
Flip and two.
And when we press it on, look, we'll press it on underneath going up. Okay. There's a little wrapper in it.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, go to the glass, and then we'll wrap it on.
Yeah.
At least touch.
Yeah.
All right, where's our next one going?
Okay. Well, maybe go on the other side here. Yeah, I'm thinking.
In this neighborhood?
Yeah.
Outside?
Sorry. Maybe over here. Yeah. Well, just off to the side of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually,
So right here?
On this side of the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Series gotta be large.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and let's
Preheat those.
Yeah, there's a little.
Chink. So yeah, we need a little more heat in there. So I'll just sit here and preheat with that.
Flash it. Not like Cat did with the paddle, right? You can do the same thing with a nice soft wood, just swoosh it onto the surface.
Great, thanks, Russ. All right, can you just
There's no iron glass blowing.
can you pass me the paddle
I will
when we
pass
get
you
to
the
that?
paddle.
Okay.
If we can go, don't do the center part, like the whole thing around it.
We haven't added these elements before, so we're still working out how to get them in. We're going on?
Got it.
Yeah, no mercy.
Thanks.
When we come back in, I'll go underneath.
Thanks, good.
No problem.
So,
No, I just giving it to you because I was holding on to it. You can also, if it needs it, go ahead, yeah.
Actually, while you're pressing it, let's put a little bit of air into it too, so that we're pressing and kneading it with the bubble in the same place.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard though.
just
Flip. Do we want to press together?
Yeah. Like a boss.
I'm here.
Use the wood. Okay. Say when. Got it. Yeah, that looks much better. Yeah.
That'll help. How many are we putting on?
Oh, there you go. That was the ticket.
Yeah, that was so much better. We'll put on one more.
Absolutely.
3 lenses, 3 collaborators.
Wow.
Now we gotta take one of Stephen's
That's
off.
why you're using galleries and museums and stuff.
I was like, if you're before, yeah. He's ready to go.
Okay, are they hot?
Oh yeah. Let me show you.
Yeah, I think we'll go lower.
Where do you want to go?
I was like, if you got on this side, so
Sure.
maybe over, somewhere like over
Ooh, I
here.
like that.
Yeah.
In this
Right
area.
about there, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're
Can't believe we gotta take another dip over this afterwards.
So we're going to put on one more lens. And Stephen's just preheating the spot for me. And Kat's trying to keep some heat in that neck area.
They said we could go a half hour over.
Yeah, we're probably
We're
only
only going to be like
10 minutes.
couple more
or so.
minutes.
Yeah. Well, we're just got to get the jack line in there, right?
Yeah. And I want to go back and fix that first one
Yeah.
so that it syncs
Yeah,
up.
it syncs up. So we'll squeeze that at the same time.
Yeah, that same thing you just did, that was money. That was great.
Yeah. All right.
Ready? Everybody ready?
Just give me a yell, Stephen.
Oh, we need 2 pedals. I forgot. That's how you do it.
Okay. Probably need some heat. Yeah, it just needs some more heat in there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. That was great.
I'll just take the last 3 and we'll stack them up like a little foot. On the bottom. Medium.
Sure.
Let me crash this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing we did with that last one. I'm just going to keep tapping it.
Go down.
Where is it?
It's already much better attached than the first one.
But see, this is like why we're doing it. Like, these attached ones is like this before.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to do it. Now everyone wants to know how to do it. And then it's a lot easier to try scary stuff yourself when you watch people like Richard Whiteley do scary stuff.
Okay, I think we're down.
Nicely done.
So the one at the very top, I just want to push it down one last time. See that little raised lip in the back? I just want to seal that in.
No, if I still on the other side.
Right here. And right here. These two have air gaps. So there and there. Yeah. I wish we had another one because there's like these little gaps. And then turn. Everyone just hit that gap, No, not lower, not lower.
Okay.
And then flip. And then there's a little gap right here. Like, no, like here. Yeah, so go around and we'll just slowly turn. Hit every gap. We'll take a flat, even out that heat a tiny bit. And then Richard's going to go around and it kind of gently press them in while we're blowing up to the pieces.
Got it.
And we're doing
Good
that
call, Kat.
because any of those little gaps like that, the air is going to get into. And even if it's kind of like a little bubbly spot that air kind of gets trapped in, it creates its own little annealing area within the piece. And then when you anneal it, that kind of specific area says, I don't want to play nice with everyone. And we want to make sure all these lenses stay on. So I didn't lift this thing, Gio didn't lift this thing, Richard didn't spend hours cold working, Stephen didn't spend hours flame working for all this to not make it out of the annealer.
You want to press now?
Nope, hit those same spots again. Yeah, go through it. Yep.
So what Kat's directing here is there's just some little gaps at the ends of these lenses, and she's figured out how we're going to just get them down flat against the surface of the glass. And so we're Stephen's spot preheating the edges of the lenses, and then Gio's doing a general heat just to keep enough general heat in the whole object. Now Kat's going to blow, and I'm going to squish these down onto the surface and get them nice and flat.
So fast.
I think that worked a treat.
All right, is
That's
that good?
perfect. Yeah, great job.
Perfect. All right, let's get this neckline in. Flatten the bottom. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, okay. So most of the forming work is done now. And what the team are trying to do is they're trying to add a bunch of heat into the neck area to put a crease line in so we can break it off. So they're using the torches to do that, and then that'll allow us to break it off. And we'll just do the cold working to finish up the rest of the work. Yep.
Would all three of us like to torch the neck together?
Sure, let's do that.
The triple dragon?
Too much power for one hand.
I look at you before you went to Ash Wednesday.
Okay, so it's all hands on deck at the moment.
We got the dueling dragons.
Yep.
We did torch one more time, or?
Yeah.
You need to? All right.
We need torch.
Yeah, hang it down the whole time. I would stretch it a little bit.
All right, Matt.
Take the coil.
I'm moving. Yeah. Very good.
Are you gonna flash it or go right now?
Let's flash real quick.
All right.
So a lot of BTUs are being applied to the neck just so we can build some heat back in there, and they can get a crease line in there to break it off.
Kind of the traditional molding, right? You don't really finish it. You hot prop it, grind it. I'm good. I can't see.
Thank you.
I'm fine.
Okay.
All right. Hold on.
Got it?
You got a tag on there. Just put an indent then.
Well, because we're gonna, now that we have this line,
Yeah.
the jack tips, so I'm saying this out loud, not because you don't know, but for the live stream. So now at this point, where we've squeezed in with the jacks, that kind of concentrates heat a little bit extra. So after this one, we're gonna get like a really, this is family friendly show, I can't say that. This is gonna be a really good score line. And then we'll add a good old Steuben knockoff tool. Someone's gonna grab the silver suit, and this guy's going in the annealer. Alright, someone shoot it up.
I guess I'll see that.
Alright. Before you put on gloves, can you look in my toolbox to see if there's the diamond salt blade?
Diamond?
The scoring. The Stephen scoring way. Nice, Showman, nice. Yes.
I'm turning as fast as I can, Captain.
You must have a hernia. Alright, that's good.
That's a beautiful name. Too bad.
Yeah, it's not in there.
Okay.
Bottom I just flattened last time, so it should be okay. Probably like a cat.
Okay, so we're just about to break this off.
We're gonna
Just-
throw a little addition.
Just trying to even out the heat now.
Tool, while the face that cools down. I don't know why. I'm fucking blind, why? I don't know why I'm thinking I can look at a straight line.
Sweet.
Do you want the full helmet, or are you happy with this one?
Oh, this is
Face
fine.
shield. Okay. Gio, where are we loading?
Sure we do. A lot of the work that I do ends up getting knocked off. It doesn't get punted at all because I kind of consider the piece itself more of like the canvas. Like things for me don't have to turn into vessels, right? So a lot of what we do usually is break it off. But these little additions, right, we need to make sure that they stay nice and toasty warm while these thicker, like that thick bottom that we were talking about, while that thick bottom cools down nice and slow. Otherwise, if you've ever been someone who comes out of your rental and you're like, oh my God, my paperweight exploded. Why did it happen? We don't want that to be a exploded paperweight at the bottom. And we don't want all these different densities happening, different compatibilities of color, right? That's already creepy enough. We don't want any of that to make our annealing an even more stressful situation than it always is. Like,
Jack between you.
Yep.
Would you like
Yep.
to do the bump?
Sure.
Stephen, would
And
you
you-
like to do the squeeze? Oh, cold one? Perfect. Cold one? So you're going to go like this and squeeze right on that jack line when I say so. And then Richard's going to, we're going to lift it, you're going to hold it, squeeze it, and Richard's going to bump the metal right behind it.
Or on that side there.
Yep. Thanks.
Are we ready?
Don't forget to smile, guys.
Oh, not yet. No.
Okay.
See how this is still moving?
Yeah.
We're cruising. We're happy. We just need.
Flash. I'm not pulling up hard enough, so it spins everything.
Right. So if you've ever cracked something off and gone to like keep the lip of it, right, and you have like those bee marks in it, right? Probably where your little pieces of water dripped onto it. This is a Steuben tool. Can't tell you how old it is. I was given a bunch of them from an old Steuben worker. This is how I like to put my water on these things. This is going to need a second to cool down. So I have time. I'm not rushing. As Ross turns away from me, I score. Get a little bit more water. Shake it off. As he goes away, I score. I only do it in one direction. So one more time. And now I'm going to grab a little bit of water.
You ready?
How you feeling?
Good.
All right, so when we knock this off, this open lip inside the annealer,
Okay.
like facing an element. All right, let's do it.
Okay,
We
we're
go
good.
down, step, flip, hold, take, squeeze, bump. Woo!
Great job, Kat.
Good job, guys. That was fun.
Good job.
Are we going to have
That was,
bumps? I don't know.
that
what
was
we're
awkward.
doing. Okay,
There
there.
you
Okay.
go.